It is my privilege as your associate minister to welcome you again, whether you're online or in the house, here for the first time or many, many times over. Here at CSL, we have 7 core values that guide everything we do. Those core values are love, healing, oneness, abundance, spiritual growth, service, and diversity. And given that today is Valentine's Day, you would expect the core value to be love, but it's actually healing. And when we dig into this a little bit, you'll see how perfect it is that healing is the core value for today. For many of us, Valentine's Day is a wonderful reminder of the romantic love that we get to experience in our lives on a daily basis. And yet, for many more of us, it's a reminder of a romantic love that used to be there, but for one reason or another isn't. Or maybe a reminder that we've never quite had the experience of romantic love that we've wanted in our lives. Historically speaking, we're at the 3rd anniversary of the Parkland shooting as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for woundedness in our experience today. But the truth is, whether that wound comes from a national tragedy or a personal one, healing is always possible, because wholeness is our divine nature. In the Heart of Spiritual Psychology course right now, we're exploring a foundational idea that healing is the application of loving to the places inside that are hurt or afraid. And so on a day when our country is so focused on love, what perfect time to have healing as a core value. Because regardless of the wound, how long it's been there or its source, the prescription is always the same. Apply as liberally as you can, as much love as you can, as many times a day as you can, to the places inside that are hurt or afraid. Throw in a little bit of self-compassion and a little bit of time, and you will begin to heal and move back to that wholeness that has been present the entire time, that has never diminished, regardless of the experience that we have. And so, friends, on this day, once again, whether the wounds are old and many or recent and few, healing is possible. And I celebrate that unconditional presence of perfect love that is with and for us all the time. The healing that is possible, regardless of our experience, and the wholeness that is expressing itself even more today than it ever has before. And I celebrate you as well, because regardless of relationship status, the love that you are is worth celebrating every day. Happy Valentine's Day.
I believe more in the light than the darkness. I believe more in the good in people than the bad. And I believe in the end, nothing really matters. Not the money we accumulate, not the businesses we build, not the work we do, not even the words out of our mouths. Nothing really matters except for the love that we find in our own hearts and the love that we share with each other. And yet, many people wrestle with this idea of love and the darkness that lives in their hearts. We don't act honestly as though love really matters the most. Instead, we spend a lot of our time boosting our egos with arrogance and telling ourselves stories of our greatness that we don't really believe. And we put on a happy face, and we show the world that we're really okay. How are you? I'm okay. But when the night falls for some of us and we're alone, those thoughts return and the darkness comes and our fears torture us again. This is the journey of a perfect spiritual being who has chosen this path to live in a world of what I call sleeping angels. It's the challenge that every woman and every man has to meet and mark the voice of that darkness that lives inside in their own minds and to win the war that's happening in here between ignorance and truth. I've been doing this a long time. For 30 years, I've been a spiritual leader, leading a community, and I've seen this story played out time and time again by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I watch it every single day. Some of you struggle with addictions. Some of you torture yourself all the time with these thoughts inside your head and questions of self-worth. Some of you are just lost and trying to find your way. And I would be lying to you if even after 30 years I told you that it didn't bother me. I'd be lying to you if I told you that it wasn't hard for me to watch you struggle with this stuff. Because the truth is, it kind of breaks my heart. I mean, I wish I could show you when you're lonely or in the darkness the astonishing light of your own being. I wish you could see the light in you that I can see, that I've trained my eye to see after 1,825 nights of my own darkness. That's how long it took me, 5 years, 1,825 nights to silence the voice in my mind. The voice of the liar who told me for years and years and years, you're not good enough, and you're not lovable, and you're not going to find your way to love. I remember one particularly dark night when I was about 21 years old, after staying up all night, literally, drinking, dancing, doing drugs, and doing anything that I could do that would numb me, that would stop that voice of the critic inside my mind. And I woke up the next morning not remembering much about what had happened the night before and not knowing the name of the person who was lying next to me. All I remember, and I remember this distinctly, the horrible pounding of my head and the terrible taste that had been in my mouth from too many cocktails and too many cigarettes. The 14th century poet Hafez described perfectly how I felt that morning. He said, I know the voice of depression still calls you. I know those habits that can ruin your life still send you invitations. Learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may give you just a moment of pleasure, but then drag you for days like a broken man behind a farting camel. 14th century Persian poet Hafez had described exactly how I felt that night. I had had my night of pleasure, many of them, but now I was the broken man being dragged behind the farting camel. Have you ever had a morning like this in your life? It is not pretty. I fought like hell to find my way to the light. I wrestled with every demon in my mind, every question that I had of my own worth. Week after week, night after night, year after year, and then finally something happened to stop it all. Finally, something happened in my own personal experience that changed every other night since. I met somebody, and I fell madly in love. I attracted somebody into my life that I was absolutely crazy about, a love that opened my heart and caused me to have feelings that I had never felt before. It was over the top awesome. I mean, I felt like I could do anything, like I could accomplish any kind of goal. Love brings with it a rush of power, like Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Titanic. He stands and says, I'm the king of the world. That's exactly the way I felt. I'm the king of the world with this love. Nothing can bother me. Nothing can harm me. Have you ever had a love like this? And then it ended as quickly as it had started, and my heart was so broken from the loss of that love that I was physically ill. It felt like love had taken me to the top of the highest peak possible in the world and just dropped me over the cliff. Down I went, spiraling into the cavern to meet my own demise, happy to land on the ground dead just to stop the pain. Oh, the drama of young love. You see, here's the mistake I made when I was so young and so naive in that first love. I thought when it was over that it had brought me to the end of my journey. That's all love can do. I felt like I couldn't go on. It felt like I was going to die. But what I didn't know was that love wasn't ending. In fact, it was just beginning. Coincidentally, the same thing happened to my muse for today's lesson, that 14th century poet Hafez. When he was 21 years old, he was working as a baker's assistant, and he delivered bread to this big, huge mansion one day. And as he approached the house, he caught the eye of a glimpse of this beautiful girl that was on one of the balconies. And he instantly fell madly in love with her. Like many of us, maybe like you, his spiritual journey begins when his heart is awakened to love. But Hafez was distraught because he was just a poor baker's assistant, and she was a wealthy, noble woman. So the situation is helpless. As the months went by without this love, without the return of his affection, he started to write poems and sing love songs. And he went all over town singing the songs and singing the poems, and people started to really like them. And he became very popular. But none of this mattered to him. His fame bothered him nothing at all. The only thing that he was focused on was getting this love. He wanted to capture her heart. Desperate to win her heart, he decided to undertake a very difficult spiritual discipline to prove his love. Now, in this part of the world, it was widely known that anyone who could sit vigil at the tomb of a certain saint all night for 40 nights would be granted their heart's desire. So for every night, for 40 nights, after working in the bakery all day long, he willed himself to stay awake every night for 40 nights, and he succeeded. At daybreak on the 40th day, the archangel Gabriel appeared before him and told him, "Ask for whatever you want." Having never seen the glorious, the most beautiful, the most radiant being of his entire life as Gabriel was, he thought to himself, if God's messenger is so beautiful, how much more beautiful is God? And in an instant, he forgot about the girl and he said, I want God. That's what I want. I don't want an object of love. I want the source of love. Emerson wrote an essay on love, and he said this: the lover ascends to the highest beauty, to the love and knowledge of the divinity, by steps on this ladder of created souls. Thus we are put in training for a love which knows not sex, nor person, nor partiality, but which seeketh virtue and wisdom everywhere. This ladder of souls that we climb are our personal relationships, the lovers that we have, the love that we have for our friends and family, even the love that we feel for our pets. All of it is a training ground for us to learn, as Hafez did, that love doesn't come from other people. It comes through them, from the one source of love itself, the creator and designer of your DNA and the sustainer of all life in the universe. And though it may seem personal to you, as it did with me in that first love when I was 21, the love we feel in our hearts for them doesn't really come from them. It is coming through them. They don't own it. They don't even possess it. In truth, it possesses them. and it possesses us all. Like a fish that's swimming in water, you are surrounded by, enveloped, and embraced in the love of Spirit. It's oozing out of every corner of existence. It shouts at you every morning when the sun rises. It forces you to yield to it. You must yield to love. Every time you see a baby laughing, it brings joy from your heart. Every time you see an animal hurt, you must yield to love. It will break you open if you have built walls around your heart. Love, only love. It's the reason you're here. Your life, although you think it's about your accomplishments and all the things that you get done and the money that you accumulate and all the struggles and strives that you go through, your life story isn't really about that. It's a love story. It's the story of how you learn to love. And all of those people that keep coming into your life you think are there by random mistake or error, every character in your story is bringing you as a gift something for you to learn about love. Some of them teach you patience. Damn it. Some of them are there to teach you patience. Some of them are there to test the limits of your compassion and show you how much compassion you can have. Some of them just bring pleasure. And others bring pain. The pain that breaks your heart open. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's God up there that's sending people down here to teach you lessons about love. You're not a student of love. You're an expression of love. And all of the characters in your love story are there to draw out something that already lives within you, something you already possess but haven't known you did. So this Valentine's Day, make a vow to yourself not to be dragged like a broken man behind a farting camel. Vow to love yourself like you never have loved yourself before. Vow to treat yourself kindly, to be nice to yourself. And vow to be patient with yourself as you grow and learn. Because you know what? The truth is, nobody's really great at this. When it comes to love, we're all kindergartners. We really are. We're still learning our ABCs. We don't know that much about it. It's all through trial and error and learning. And that's okay. Because you know what? We have an eternity to explore this unconditional and perfect love that is the source of life itself, and this infinite well of love that we all live in. And if you should find yourself alone at night, wrestling with those demons, remember my words. The better part of you will win. You will rise up from your pain, and you will find joy again. Your past will be healed, and the future that you dream of, that you hoped was possible, I promise you really is. Love always wins. Always, always, always wins. Reverend Ben has some words of his own to share with you this morning about love. Would you help me welcome Reverend Ben?
Thank you. So for years, my farting camel is that I would call Valentine's Day Singles Awareness Day. And for years, it would come around again and I would find myself single. Big shock. It wasn't until I decided to shift the way I related to Valentine's Day, to have it be a celebration of the love I saw all around me and a celebration of loving for myself, that my experience changed. And so today, we're going to have an opportunity to join together in a commitment to loving ourselves. Here's the deal. Oftentimes we get a little too serious when it comes to self-love. We put a lot of weight on it. So this commitment ceremony, if you choose to participate, is going to be fun. You don't have to participate, but I certainly encourage you to, especially if there's a place in the back of your head that scoffs at the idea, that thinks it's a little stupid. You might need to give some love to that spot in your consciousness. You know what I'm talking about, right? So we're going to do a little call and response. I will say a statement. You will respond to that statement if you so choose. We'll have several fun ways of committing to loving ourselves. We'll move then into a bit of a spiritual mind treatment to anchor that loving deeper. If you choose to participate, I encourage you to stand or sit, whatever you're comfortable with. I encourage you to close your eyes, and I encourage you to touch in to your heart center on one hand and to touch in to your power center on the other to help connect those two aspects of your being. And so, for those of you who would like to commit to loving yourself with me and are comfortable standing, please stand. If you prefer to participate from your seat, participate from your seat. It's all good. Touch into your heart center and your power center if you are willing. Allow your eyes to close and repeat after me. I love me. And I commit to loving myself. Even if I don't, in this moment, feel like I'm lovable, I am. Spirit birthed the entire universe. Looked around and said, something's missing. And became me. 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 And if the infinite presence of love and wisdom loves me that much, then by God, quite literally, I love me too. There is nobody else like me. Nobody. Never has been, never will be. That's freaking awesome. I'm freaking awesome. From this point forward, I am giving myself the love that I used to seek from others, and loving myself to the best of my ability, knowing that as I love myself, my ability to love myself will grow, because love is who I am. Love is who I am. Love is who I am. And I love me. Let's turn within to some treatment now, knowing that in the presence and power of the infinite expression of loving that birthed the universe, we have now committed in whatever way we chose to commit today to loving ourselves. And that presence which loves itself so much that it birthed itself as the universe and as each and every one of us says, yes, beloved, yes, I am with and for you in this commitment to loving yourself. Whatever it is in the dark moments when you need it, I will be there in reminder that you are loving. In any moment when you need a little boost of love, there will be a sign, a message, something to remind you to turn within and give that loving to yourself. Because you are the source of love. And so knowing that that infinite presence is with and for us, that whatever our ability to loving ourselves is right now, it will continue to grow and expand as we step into it, and that we step into it in this day, in a day when the consciousness of loving in our society is so high that it floats all boats and gives an extra goose to our engagement with our self-love. We know that it is done, that it is good, it is very good, and life itself guides us forward in the most amazing love affair we have ever had. And so it is. Oscar Wilde said, that to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance, and so beginneth the lifelong romance. Happy Valentine's Day.
Let's take some time this morning to go within, close our eyes to all of the external facts of life so that we might know the truth of our own lives. At the very center of your being is the source of your life. It's not the name you were given when you were birthed into that body, but it is your true identity. At the very core of your mind and your heart lives the power that sustains all life in the universe. This is a secret that no one has ever told you, that you have right now within yourself and always have had from the day you were born. All the love, all the wisdom, and all the power you will ever need. We have been hypnotized and lied to by people that didn't know that truth. Taught to seek our love and our good from others out there in the world, from limited sources that always end. And in our disappointment, we think we have to go without love and wisdom and power. But all we have to do is turn inward to where the true source lies and let out who we are. Let's stop our futile search for things that are good outside our lives and go within to access that source of power and love. Let's be still now and see if we can find it in our mind and in our hearts where it lives. Win the war between truth and ignorance. Stop listening to the voice inside your mind that says you're not good enough and not lovable. It's not true now, and it never has been true. Listen to the voice of love. Follow love wherever it is, wherever it takes you, wherever it leads you. Always follow joy. That is the road to truth. That is the road to God. That is the road to life, to love and joy. And in so doing, you will find your heart filled with love, and joy will abound. And so it is.
Spirit meets me there.
We close our service as we always do with this affirmation, and your affirmation is exactly like mine, and this, although it says my name at the end of it, Reverend Ben wrote this. Would you say it with me, please? I am immersed in love and swimming in a sea of joy. Let's know this truth. In truth, no matter what has happened to us, no matter what struggles we have currently in our lives, in truth, love is the answer, love is the healing, love is the cure. In truth, love is not something we can gain from getting somebody new into our lives. It is something we can let out that we have already and always possessed. When you let out love, people come to you ready to love. So let's follow that path that we have been given to love and joy. Let's let it out of our hearts and follow where it takes us, and we will be healed and whole and healthy again, right in the arms of love where we belong. This is the truth. It's established on a cellular and biological level inside your body right now, which brings you health, your natural state. We accept it, we are grateful for it, and allow it to unfold in this ongoing week with the greatest of ease. And so it is.
Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting CSL. If you'd like to know more about us, check us out on our website or social media. Blessings.